Mad Max Fury Road is the fourth installment in the Mad Max universe, and all of them are directed by George Miller. Fury Road is basically an awesome 2-hour-long car chase set in a desolate post-apocalyptic wasteland. The title is a bit misleading, as it implies Max is the protagonist. The story is told from his perspective, but really Charlize Theron's Imperator Furiosa is the biggest and most important character.
It was truly an archaic and a fantastic move to develop and to bring a female protagonist of that level, who's arguably one of the coolest action leads ever.
I think George is a lover of women, and it's absolutely awesome to work with a guy who really, really loves women for who they are. Not because of a fantasy or this kind of idea that he has about them, but for who they really are. And he's fascinated. And I had moments with him where I would talk to him about things and he would just be like a kid, like a little boy going, really? Yeah. And I could tell that he had a real need to want to represent all of these women in a very truthful manner.
Another woman who's loved by George is his wife, Margaret Sixel. George asked her to edit the film, explaining that if a guy did it, it would just look like every other action movie. The plan worked out, and Sixel won an Oscar for Best Editing. It was one of the 6 Academy Awards the movie earned in total, all in technical categories. The editing is completely hyperactive, but rather than just tossing the camera around to create tension, this time the filmmakers really defined the geography of all the action. The viewer constantly gets clear overhead shots so they know the positions of all the characters and vehicles. Another thing that makes Mad Max stand out is the use of colors. In most post-apocalyptic movies, the filmmakers opt for bleak, desaturated hues to emphasize the scorching sun. Miller, however, wanted his shots to be as colorful as possible. Almost all of the stunts in the film are real practical effects. This is quite refreshing compared to most CGI overkill blockbusters. Fury Road is basically one enormous action sequence, and the most impressive part is that it all happens on the road, so the elements are constantly moving. The film is a lot more than just a lot of fast-paced action and beautiful colors, though. It's heavily character-driven and touches on important and relevant themes.
Got lots to say socially and politically and all those things, whereby that's all interwoven into the story and not in a preachy way where you sit there and you watch what is a great epic action movie, but then you go away and hopefully you sit there and you go, okay, well, there's something to think about in that as well.
You always have the dominance hierarchy controlling all the resources, in many ways oppressing people. In this case, it's the Morton Joe, the tyrant of the wasteland. Everyone has his brand, his logo on their backs, and people are trying to flee from that. And I think the story is ultimately about people who are very broken and burnt out coming together with mutual regard and by cooperating, surviving.
Mad Max Fury Road is the kind of film we can discuss for hours, but why should we when you can watch it for yourself? Mad Max Fury Road, available now in the movie section.